Well, thanks for coming, guys. It's really nice to have you here. We're going to get started. So, this is called Rescue Your Relationship Marriage Maintenance 101, the workshop. We're going to start with the complete breath. So, I believe both of you have heard me talk about the complete breath in the men's groups. The complete breath is three-part breathing, right? You start in the gut, the belly, up the ribs, and to the chest, right? You really want to open the diaphragm up to get the air, the oxygen into the bottom of the lungs. Why? Why is that important? Well, it's important because the veins bring blood back through the lungs to the heart, and they bring them through the lungs so that oxygen can burn out the toxins and create the exit of carbon dioxide, right? So the blood brings back toxins from the cells, burns it off in the lungs before it passes it over to the heart, where it gets back into the bloodstream. What happens is we have a epidemic of shallow breathing where we only breathe into our middle of our chest and middle of our lungs. And so we never really burn off a lot of these toxins. So the toxins are just entering our blood system. So we want to do these deep breaths. Okay. Again, we want to open the diaphragm, breathe into the belly first, open the ribs, and then up to the upper chest. Okay. And then exhale the reverse process, right? So let's do about 10 of these. Okay. Again, open the diaphragm, fill from the bottom up, the belly, the ribs, and the upper chest, and then exhale. And we want the exhale to be longer than the inhale so that you put yourself into the parasympathetic. You're out of fight and flight. If you have a lot of stress, it really takes the stress out of it. Okay. So let's, like I said, we'll do about 10 of these. While you're here, really connect with your breath. Your breath is your anchor to the present. Connect with your body. And also set your intention for what you want to achieve in the next hour. All right, let's do two more. All right. How you guys feeling? Do you feel anything different with that?
Yeah, when you first start it, you can really feel it. The first one, you really feel your lungs fill up.
For sure. Yeah, and this is something you should be doing every day. And again, we'll get into that when we get into the grounded presence, that this is something to do all the time. All right, so let's do introductions. We all kind of know each other. I think we were all in the same group the other day. So we're going to say, what is your name? Where are you connecting from? What is your intention here today? Meaning, what's the status of your relationship? Is it thriving? Are you separated? Are you on the verge of divorce? Is she creating distance? And then the last question is, how are you feeling on a scale of 1 to 10? We're just going to do generally. You don't have to do physical, emotional, and mental.
Okay.
So again, my name's Matt. I'm connecting from Costa Rica, here at Playa Grande in Costa Rica. My relationship is thriving. And it wasn't always like that. A lot of work had to be put in for my relationship to be where it is. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm feeling probably about an 8. I was feeling about a 9.5 about 30 minutes ago, but having people cancel at the last minute, brings the energy down. But glad you guys are here, so I'm really grateful for you. And then go ahead, Chris. Why don't you let us know how you're doing?
My name's Chris Cannon. I'm from Fredonia, New York, which is about 50 miles south of Buffalo. My intention for today is to learn all I can about relationships and to better myself and to be a better person. How I'm feeling on a scale of 1 to 10. probably 7.5 or 8. As Matt knows, I went through something kind of stressful a few minutes ago. So,
Yeah.
but I'm used to dealing with that, so it's not a big deal.
Good man, Chris. Thanks for checking in. John, you're up.
All right. So I'm Jonathan Husky, Charlotte, North Carolina. Um, we'll say my intention for today is just to pick up whatever knowledge and advice and tidbits I can. We're not quite at divorce or separated, but it's a rocky slope right now. And it's funny because I forgot this was today, and then I told her this morning. I said, "Hey, can we sit down and have a conversation sometime today?"
I forgot.
10. Go ahead.
You finished, Jonathan.
All right. So we'll say on a scale of 1 to 10, we'll say I'm about an 8. It's the weekend. I've got a nice fresh and a cut and shave, so that always makes you feel better. And just feeling a little bit better. It's been a rough mental and emotional week. So
Good man, Jonathan. Well, hopefully that conversation you have with your missus after this, you're going to be able to nail it. I'm pretty sure you will.
I forgot my relationship status, and
Go ahead.
I am separated right now. We've been separated approximately 9.5 months. My wife is pursuing divorce, and Jonathan, you're very lucky. Your wife will talk to you because mine won't. She is wanting time and space.
Yeah. Well, you're doing great, Chris, man. And we've known each other for almost about the whole time, and I think you're doing great, man. And hopefully you'll find some value in today's session. Kenny, welcome. So
Yes,
if you could see
sorry
the
it's a little late.
screen.
I was still driving back home, so thank you.
No no problem. Many people already canceled in the last 15 minutes. So thanks for coming. I appreciate it. And I imagine the other men appreciate it as well. So if you want to just go ahead and check in, let us know who you are, where you're connecting from, what your relationship status is, and how you're feeling.
Yeah, okay. Hi guys. My name is Kenny. I'm calling from Arizona. Um, the link to this workshop today, just the topics, the topic points was interesting. Um, it says here the status of your relationship. Been married about 32 years. Just for me personally, I could always improve in communications. That's something I really try to work hard on in my relationship. Um, so just going through some challenges right now. I'm not in a relationship, but I, you know, um, as I shared with Matt, being out of work is really um, challenging. It's being not being a provider and so yeah, yeah, that's where I stand. So thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks, Kenny. Thanks, everyone. We're moving on. So I have a free gift at the end of this. For those of you that stay, I will be able to pass over a free gift for you. And I do want to say that this is essentially about relationships, but it's also about life. Because for you to really thrive in your relationship, you kind of have to be thriving as a human being as well. And so everything that we're going to talk about today is going to be applicable to your life as well. Okay. So if you stay with me to the end, we have a free gift for you. You are in the right place today. If you feel like you're maybe living with a roommate instead of your romantic partner, your sex life is either rare or non-existent, you feel unappreciated, unseen, or like nothing you do is good enough. You're exhausted from repeating the same arguments, finding real solutions, and you're just ready to take responsibility to grow as a man and to lead your relationship and your life back to passion and trust. Okay, what you're going to leave today with. Okay, today you're going to leave with the tools of how to respond instead of react. So responding with grounded presence, not with anger, not with withdrawal. right? You're going to learn how to create emotional safety so that your partner opens up instead of shutting down. Okay. We're going to be shifting you from the roommate mode, and we're going to be bringing back passion and polarity, which is a necessity to any relationship. You're going to learn how to lead crucial conversations without getting defensive or blowing up. And you're going to know exactly what to do starting today to shift the energy in your relationship. So Jonathan, you said you have a conversation with your wife after. This is going to help. Okay. Do we have any questions moving forward? Brilliant. All right. What this workshop is, we're going to be going over the roadmap to revive connection, trust, and like I said, sexual polarity. Even if you think things are broken, this is a safe space for men to be honest, to get tools, and to rise above the blame and shame game. Now, at the end of this, I will make an invitation to those who would like to dive deeper into rescuing your relationship. What this workshop is not, is this is not a place where you're going to vent and just stay stuck in victimhood and resentment. This is a place of change. This workshop is not couples therapy or anything that requires your partner to show up first. And this is not about tricks or manipulation or becoming a nice guy to win her back. We're going to win her back with authenticity. Okay. Now, are we good? Do we know where we are? Everyone's good?
Yep.
Brilliant. Now, I want to share my story with you. Some of you have heard this or a version of this. My wife is Colombian. She was studying in Barcelona when I was working there, and we actually met in a disco, in a club in 2008. Now, our relationship started slow, and we traveled a lot. But over the years, we started getting closer and closer, and we ended up moving in together in Tenerife, traveling some more, and we finally ended up landing in Costa Rica. And everything was great. Living the dream, really. The pura vida. I don't know if you've been to Costa Rica, but in Costa Rica, they say pura vida, pure life. Now, our son was born. Our first son was born in 2014. His name's Dante. And when Dante was born, everything changed. I say everything, but really I felt like she changed, right? Things were definitely different. The first thing I noticed was that the sex was less and less often. Now, I didn't think too much about it because I thought, okay, she just had a baby. This is probably something with hormones, like totally normal. But I would go for it. She would reject me, and then I would sulk. So we're having less sex, and the less sex led to more conflict. As the sex kind of decreased, the conflict increased, and we started fighting about everything. We fought about work. We fought about home responsibilities. We fought about apparently my facial expressions and how I would make her mad with how I looked, how I breathed, right? So at the time, we owned a bar. And to kind of avoid the conflict, instead of kind of digging into it, I just spent time in the bar. I would spend time in the bar drinking with the boys. So now we have less sex, we have more conflict, and now we have more physical separation, physical distance, right? So all of these three things led to more emotional distance. And this went on for months and months until it all came crashing down. And I remember it was a Sunday. I had a hangover, as I did a lot back then. And she made one of her passive aggressive comments, and it really triggered me. Now, I responded, or I reacted in kind of a loud, exaggerated way, and that completely shut her down. She wouldn't respond, and her not responding triggered me and pissed me off even more, so I yelled more. Finally, she couldn't take it anymore. She got up from the bed where I was berating her, and she said, "I'm going to call the police." And I thought she was bluffing, so I encouraged her. I'm like, "Yeah, you do that. Call the police." I never thought she would do it, but she did. Now, when the police arrived, luckily, like I said, I was sober and I was calm. They asked what happened, and they didn't ask me, they asked her because she's the one that called them. She explained the situation, and they asked if she wanted them to take me away. So we're at the moment of truth. The silence felt eternal. My heart was beating so violently that I could hear it. And after what seemed like the longest pause in my life, she responded, "No, don't take him." And she thanked them for coming so quickly. Stoically, I sat outside until Natalia went back inside, the police left, and when I was finally alone, I cried my eyes out. When I finished crying, I noticed a slight shift in my heart. And from that moment, I decided I needed to make a change. So for the past 9.5 years, 9+ years, I've been working and creating this 5-step roadmap, living it to create a happy, fulfilling, and peaceful marriage. So without further ado, let me present the 5 pillars. So the 5 steps to rescuing your relationship. The first one, grounded presence. Now I have there mastering mind and emotions because that's the final step, right? In order to get to even a place where you can master your mind or your emotions, you need to be present. So you need this grounded presence. It is the baseline. It is foundational. The second one is crystal clear vision and direction, which is pretty self-explanatory. The next one, masterful communication. And again, like you said, Kenny, working on communication, this is something that is translatable through every part of your life, this masterful communication. Number 4 is sacred polarity, and number 5 is adventure. Okay, so as this is an interactive workshop, I'm going to ask you, what does it mean to have grounded presence? Anyone can respond. Go ahead.
I guess being fully present in your feelings, your emotions, and what you're feeling.
To be stable, non-reactive, not a over-reactive person, to have a calming demeanor.
Brilliant. Yeah, like stable is a great one. Like that's what we need to be. The masculine is stable. The masculine is the structure and the feminine is the flow. Jonathan, do you have anything for grounded presence? Any ideas?
I mean, I don't know. The only thing that came to mind was that there's a lot of times that we're present, but we're not there.
I love it.
We're physically in the home, we're there, but with the struggles of life and work and things like that, we're in our own zone, in our own comfort bubble, just trying to make it until the next day, and just getting out of that and speaking and acknowledging. I think those are a lot of the things that go into grounded presence in my mind.
Excellent. Brilliant. So what I have here is the ability to stay calm, steady, emotionally regulated, and fully present, even when emotions are running high. Because of course, we can do that when emotions aren't running high, and that's good. We should, but we also have to do it when the emotions are running high. So I remember for me, so I call it BP and AP, right? Before the police and after the police in my life, right? And so what happened is, after the police, when I realized I needed to do some work, this was number 1 for me. And what happened was, again, something like Jonathan said, is I would be with my wife physically, but I would be thinking about work, or I'd be on my phone, or, and she'd talk to me and I wouldn't have any idea what she says because I'm so busy building the business. And that wasn't present. I wasn't displaying grounded presence. What I learned and what I forced myself to do, and this was hard because we were only 2 years into my business and I wanted to grow my business. I put my phone down when I was with her. And I used the techniques that I'm going to show you a little bit later to be there, both physically, emotionally, and mentally, which I think is one of the most important things that you can do in terms of building your life as well as building your relationship. I have a client, his name's Anton. Great guy. He's got a gym in Portland, Oregon, really successful human being. When his wife blindsided him and told him that she didn't love him, she loves him, but she's not in love with him anymore, it really threw him for a loop. And what happened is when he started contacting me and we started working on these techniques of grounded presence, he now can handle any conversation that she comes with. So all of their conversations now, because of the separation, are crucial conversations. When I say crucial conversations, what this means is that there's an emotional charge in the conversation. And he's in the process of mastering listening to her and not reacting or responding. And what he does and what he's done is he said, okay, I hear what you say. Please give me 24 hours to respond. And then he might call me and be like, this is what she said. What should we do? But it's something that he's been able, by doing this, what he told me last week is he's like, Matt, I feel like I'm winning. And so this grounded presence is the way to feel like you're winning. The 3 techniques I want you guys to practice. Number 1 is to practice 1 minute of complete breath every hour. Every hour, every day, until this becomes habit. Okay, so we did it to start this workshop. I want you to do it every hour. Maybe set an alarm for yourself. Whatever you need to do the complete breath every hour. The second one is the body scan, right? And I say 10 times a day, but do it as many times as you can remember. Now, what's a body scan? Well, a body scan is connecting with your body. It's getting out of your head and getting into your body, right? And so the way I do it is I start with my toes, then my feet, my heels, my ankles, my shin, my calves, my knees, my legs, and I go all the way up my body to my head. Now, because I've been doing this for years, I actually do the outer body scan as well as an inner body scan. So I even scan my internal organs. Now, in order to do that, I really had to learn about where they are because, I'll be honest with you, I didn't pay too much attention in biology class in high school. But now I do an inner and outer body scan numerous times a day. Okay. And this, again, connects you to the present and connects you to your body. So these 2 tactics, the breath and the body, are foolproof ways to stay in the present. The third tactic and technique is the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 sensory meditation. What's this? So I do this outside. When I go outside, I look for 5 things. Now, I don't conceptualize these things. I don't say tree, bush, leaf. No, I actually look at them. I notice on the tree the patterns on the bark. I notice the way the leaf moves with the wind. I notice the way the light hits the leaf. And this is practice in nature so that you can look at humans the same way, and you can look at them and you can notice their idiosyncrasies. You can notice their uniqueness, but practice in nature first. So look for 5 things and really see them. Don't conceptualize them, see them. 4 things you hear. So I listen always for birds. I'm a bird watcher. I love birds. So I listen for birds and I try to identify them. But you can listen to anything. Listen to the way the wind rustles the feathers of the tree. Listen to maybe a distant car or the buzz of a water pump. Just notice 4 different sounds and stay present with those sounds for a couple seconds. 3 things you feel. And I don't necessarily mean emotions. What I mean is textures. Like, how does your shirt feel on your body? How does it feel to have the wind rub against your face or blow against your face? How does it feel to walk on the edge of water? How does it feel to sit and your butt pressing into the chair? So 3 things that you can feel. 2 things that you can smell. So again, flowers, the smell of rain in the earth, the smell of freshly cut grass, whatever you can smell in that moment, bring that sense together in the present. And then 1 is taste. 1 thing you can taste. Sometimes we can't taste things in our mouth because we haven't eaten in a while. So just visualize a taste. Think about the last time you ate a mango. How did it taste? Or a cup of coffee. Okay, so this one, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is the 3rd technique that I use religiously to keep myself in the present. Does anyone have any questions about these 3 techniques? Okay, this is primordial. These 3 things you have to practice daily. All right, the second step in this roadmap is crystal clear vision and direction. What does that mean to you? Anyone have an idea of what crystal clear vision and direction means?
I don't know. For me, that kind of ties back into just finishing reading The Way of the Superior Man, and a lot of talk about purpose. Um,
Correct.
I mean, being able to actually visualize and see, look, this is, I mean, purpose, manifestation, whatever you want to call it. It's, it's having a crystal clear mental picture of this is what I want, this is where I want to be. And I think if you can have that crystal clear vision and picture, then it's easier to get to that goal and that point in your life or whatever it is.
A step-by-step
Brilliant.
plan.
I love it. A step-by-step plan. The purpose, a step-by-step plan. Brilliant stuff. Anything, Kenny?
SMART goals.
SMART goals. Yes, sir. SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable. What's the R? Relevant and time related. So
Yes.
you don't say, I want to be a better person, right? Because that's not measurable. You say, I want to meditate 300 times this year. I want to, I want to stretch every night for the next 2 months. So measurable, SMART goals. I love it, Kenny. Great stuff. Okay, what I have here is knowing what you want in life and your relationship, and then leading your life and relationship with clarity, leadership, and like you said, Jonathan, purpose. Okay. So for me, what happened was before the police, I thought I already made it. I was like, man, I made my purpose. Like, I live in Costa Rica. I get to surf every day. I'm the owner of my own hotel. What more do I need? And I stopped pushing forward. I stopped leading my relationship. And so it wasn't necessarily having a kid that really threw a ratchet in it. I stopped leading the relationship. And because I stopped leading the relationship, my wife, Natalia, didn't know what to do and couldn't follow me. So after the police incident, getting myself grounded, I realized I didn't have a purpose. I already thought I reached my purpose. And so I had to really dig down deep and find out what my purpose was. Go ahead, Chris.
I have the same issue. And how did you do that? How did you extend? You reached a goal. How did you extend that goal?
I made more goals.
Goals are never ending.
Yeah, and I think what happens, Chris, this happens to guys, right? Because we're not.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I've done so much in my life to this. I'm 66. I've done so much in my life. I've built 3 businesses. I've done a lot of things. You get to a point where like there are things I want to do, but there's financial disadvantages to doing them. Like you own a motel. I own a rental house. I want to build a garage with a loft. I've thought about it, but it's on the water like yours. It's in New York State, and the taxes are astronomical if I do that. So how do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, and
To a
what
point.
happened to me, what I leaned into when I'm like, well, I have everything. I have a beautiful wife. I have a newborn son, so it's going to pass on my name. I don't have financial problems. I leaned into legacy, right? I said, well, what am I going to leave? And what happened to me, what came up for me is I said, wow, this town I live in doesn't have a kids park.
I ran
So
for
I said,
office.
there you go. Like there's always something you can do and so for me, the thing that I would say for you, Chris, is think about legacy, right?
Okay.
What are you going to leave? What are people going to say about you? Because at the end of the day, your purpose is not survival, right? That's your
No,
job.
not anymore.
Your job is to take care of your wife. Your job is to take care of your kids and yourself, right? That's not your purpose. Your purpose is further reaching. How do you give back to society? How do you connect with other humans? How do you serve other humans? And so, I'm not saying that you're going to be able to figure out, sit there today and do your complete breath, and all of a sudden it's going to hit you like, oh, my legacy has to be this. But it's think about legacy. Like, what do you want people to say about you? And we have some techniques here that will help you with this vision and purpose. Okay.
Okay.
I had
That helps a lot, really, because I've run for office. I held office for like 10 years. I did have a major building project in our town that I basically brought to fruition. And it brought the town a lot of money. So I've done some of that. So I maybe look further.
look further. And you had mentioned, Chris, that you've been spending a lot of time with your pastor. And
Yeah.
so, and I think that this is a great thing. Like, I wanted to mention this to you the other day. This is amazing. And I feel like maybe that's the route to look for. Like, think about him when you're thinking about legacy.
Okay.
That's what I would recommend.
Thanks.
Brilliant.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No problem. No problem at all. This is what it's about. This is an interactive workshop. I want to tell you a quick story about the people who are renting the coffee shop from our place. A couple of years ago, no, it was last year in April, I told my wife that we need to, the front rooms of our hotel, I want to make commercial. I want to rent them out. Well, there was just one room I wanted to rent out. And so I put an advertisement up. People started calling like crazy because there's lack of commercial places here. And the first people, Fran and Sophia, they called and they said, oh, we want to do a coffee shop. And I was like, okay, come on Thursday. And I started thinking about it, and I'm like, you know what? I don't want food or drink in my place. We had a bar there. I don't want food or drink. And I told my wife, I was like, I don't want food or drink. She's like, well, just call them and tell them no. And so I was in the moment of writing them a message and saying, you know what? Sorry, I have to cancel. When I was writing them the message, they sent me a message saying, just want to confirm we're on for Thursday. And I said, all right, fine, let's do it. So they came on Thursday. They checked the place out. I was impressed. They were both 25 years old, but they were really kind of go-getters, I guess we could call them. And they checked out the place, then they left. And I showed it to another person. Then I showed it to another person. The fourth person I showed it to was another girl who said, I want a coffee shop too, but this place is too small. Do you have any other rooms or any other spaces I can rent? And I was like, oh, well, this room across the hall, like you can take this one too. Same price. So I'll charge you this for both of them. She's like, I'll take it. I'll pay you the deposit this afternoon. I said, hang on. There's other people who have looked, who told me that they want it. So I have to speak to them first and tell them that the deal has kind of changed and give them first opportunity because I'm a man of my word. I'm a man of integrity. She understood. I called Fran and Sophia back and I said, listen, there's someone else who's here that wants to do a coffee shop, but they want to rent more space. Would you guys want to come back and see, and maybe you're interested in it? And they said, for sure, for sure. When they came back, they had the name of the place, they had the logo, they had the menu done, and they had the layout of the room. This inspired me. This is clarity of direction and vision. And because of this, they ended up renting the other space. After 1 year, they're expanding and they're taking like a whole new portion of the hotel. So this is the importance of clarity of direction and vision. Okay. 3 techniques, and this will get into what you were talking about, Chris. The first one is future self journaling. Now, what this means is writing letters from your future self to your present self. So thinking about yourself in 5-10 years down the road, writing letters or just a letter to yourself to help you get along the path you need to go. Okay, so this is a journaling exercise that I've done for many, many times to make sure I'm going in the right direction. The second one is visualization. This is a basic tool that everyone needs to have. Okay, and you can visualize anything. Visualization is the prerequisite for manifestation. So the way I do it is I clear my mind and I do this with the breath. Right? With the breath, with the body scans, I clear my mind and I visualize myself in say 3 years time. And when I do this, I visualize, where am I living? Where am I working? Who am I with? Who am I working with? Who am I living with? What are my kids looking like? What is my body size, my body shape? What's my health? everything that you can possibly think of, you fill that visualization in, because the clearer your visualization is, the easier it will be to manifest it. And the last technique is mentoring and modeling. So there's a guy, John Wineland, he wrote this book called From the Core, men's studies book, amazing book. He says that men need three things: time alone, time in nature, and time in depth with other men. So this mentoring and modeling means spend time in depth with other men who you respect. Find a mentor, find a men's group, start a men's group if you want, but just get with people that you can look up and learn from. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Any questions about these? Brilliant. I love it.
Matt,
All right, moving on. The next,
I will say,
go ahead.
Bring up the slide again.
Oh, sure.
Wow, this, I don't want to take up too much time, but wow, there's just a ton of stuff here. 1, 2, 3. Number 2, visualization. You said to visualize where you want to see yourself in 3 years and where you're living, where you want to work. I've been out of work for over almost 3 years now, and that is something that I've been doing, and I feel like I'm not any closer to what maybe there's like some thoughts and concepts of what I want to do, but that one thing hasn't jumped up to inside for me to say, that's it, this is it, this is what I want to do, to where I'm excited to go, to get excited about every morning. So it just hasn't come to me yet. So, and so I've been doing some journaling, really breaking down. I took a I read some about stuff about journaling, and some things I just cannot. I don't know if I'm just too hard on myself or so. Just a comment only, and yeah.
Why, my suggestion, Kenny, would be to visualize every single thing about yourself in 3 years, except for your job. So for you, don't think about your work. Visualize everything else. When something for work comes up, get rid of it. Don't think about your work. Don't try to visualize your work just yet. Get yourself accustomed to visualizations of yourself in the future. And I think eventually it will come up. I know we've spoken a lot about your struggles of finding work. And I think it might be that you're looking in the wrong place. And so what do they say? I don't know if this is applicable, but if you love something, give it up. If it comes back, it's yours forever. If it doesn't come back, it's never yours. And so what I would say is give up this idea of looking for work and allow whatever to come up, to come up. Don't try to force it. And I would say right now, even forget about it. Like, just think about your health in 3 years. Think about your hobbies in 3 years. Think about your relationship in 3 years. Think about where you're living in 3 years. Think about everything except for your work.
You're right. And right now I'm focused on with my health. And so, as accountability, going to the gym and hitting the gym and doing some cardio. So I'm just because I heard that if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. So yeah, so I'm just trying to look and feel good. So
exactly. There's an axiom that is, when you have your health, you have thousands of problems. When you don't have your health, you have one problem.
Great.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you for sharing. And I would say, do the visualizations. Don't think about work. Don't think about it. It's coming. I know it's coming. I know it's hard for you because you've been trying so hard, but I sense it's coming. I can feel it, Kenny.
In that my I'm at home with my wife because I'm trying to whisper. So that it does create some conflict. Be honest, it does create conflict. Like lack of work, lack of income, and all that. So yeah, so it is one of the stressors and the conflict and stress on me, and it's hard in the relationship, really is.
For sure. Especially if you're trying to do something, and it's been 3 years, almost 3 years that you've been trying to
Yeah,
do something, and you
yeah,
haven't.
and as a man, you kind of think that, gee, I want, because I've always worked, and you always want to you always want to be the provider, the leader, and so when you don't have that, income coming in, that purpose, and it is kind of you feel a little let down and discouraging. So, and it's sometimes very lonesome. So I'm done.
I hear you, man. I hear you 100%. And yeah, I think that you sometimes you have to just let go a little bit, like let go of the stress of not having a work. And the next step is the masterful communication. And I would recommend that you do speak to your wife about this, about how you're feeling maybe, and about, the sense of maybe lack of confidence by not having this job and not having the income. But I know, Kenny, like I've known you for a while now, and I know it's coming. You're going to get it. You just got to keep trusting the process and doing the work.
I
Thank
just
you.
wanted to say that talking about the visualization, that was a lot of vowels to pronounce in there. Um, a book came to mind that I read not too long ago, that Dr. Joe Dispenza, Breaking
Yeah.
the Habit of Being Yourself.
Yep.
It was really, really good, and a lot about visualizing the future and where you want to be.
So powerful. It's one of the most powerful things ever. They talk about it in The Power of Attraction. They talk about it. So at the end of the 1800s, beginning of the 1900s, there was a movement called the New Thought movement. William Walker Atkinson, Charles Prentice, like a lot of these guys talked about the power of the mind and the power of visualization, and how you can really have anything that you want. The only thing that's blocking you is your own mind. And so when you can get out of your own way and get out of your own mind's way, you can visualize whatever you want, and whatever you can visualize, the more clear it is, the more likely it is that you can achieve it. So it's very, very powerful technique, but it's something that takes work because we're not used to doing this. And it's something that your visualization is going to be super cloudy at first, and you're not going to be able to do it, and you're going to get frustrated. But with anything, you'll eventually get to it, and you'll eventually be able to do it. Joe Dispenza is awesome. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. All right. So masterful communication. What does this mean?
I mean,
Anyone want?
I'd say it sounds self-explanatory, being able to masterfully communicate. But I mean, in order to masterfully communicate, you've got to, I mean, number one, you've got to keep your emotions at check. You've got to be considerate, thoughtful, rational. Doesn't mean you can't get your point across. That doesn't mean you can't express your angers or your fears or anything like that. There's there's a big difference between what you say and how you say it. So I think how you say something goes uh, a mile and more to what you're getting across.
I would say listen, acknowledge, and then respond appropriately.
Brilliant. I love
I
that.
know I've done a little bit of work on it. And if you're talking about with your partner or basically anybody, they want to be heard.
Yeah. I would say it's part empathetic listening and also your body language.
Brilliant. Yeah, they say that in communication, 55% is body language, 37% is tone, and only 8% is the words. I don't know if that's true. I don't even know where that came from, but it's been said. What I want to say here is Stephen Covey wrote the book Seven Habits of Highly Effective Humans, I believe, something like that. He said, first seek to understand before seeking to be understood. Both of these are crucial, to understand and be understood. But first, you want to seek to understand. So I speak 3 languages. I learned 2 languages after I was, 20 years old. When learning language, when you're just getting into it, someone says something to you, and to make sure you understand, you repeat them with, "Is that right?" And that's how I learned, right? And that's what we have to do with our females and in life, right? We have to make sure we understand what the person is saying. And so men are logical and rational. Women are emotional. And so they speak about their emotions, and sometimes we don't understand what they're saying because we're listening to the words. And like Kenny said, it's much more of nonverbal communication and things like that. So when your missus or when anyone that you're communicating with says something that's a little confusing, even if it's not confusing, it's very helpful, like you said, Chris, to pause, process, make sure you understand, and even repeat it to them. Is this what you mean? This is what I'm understanding. Is this what you mean? And so you make that communication very clear. Once you get what they're saying, then you can communicate your point, right? And then you want to make sure that they understand, right? Because there's always going to be some static in the line between communicator and receiver, right? Or speaker and receiver. So you want to make sure you're understood. I have a client, Ben, who his wife, him and I, we both have Latino wives. His wife's actually from Mexico, mine's from Colombia, but he was going through this problem, is that he couldn't communicate with her, and she would get all emotionally dysregulated because he didn't understand what she was saying, because he was listening in a strictly logical way. And he's like, "Well, you're calling this red thing black, and it's not black, it's red," and he'd get all pissed off. And it's like, "No, man, she sees it as black right now." And so what we worked on is we worked on certain rules of communication. And again, these are for when there's emotional charge in the communication. So whenever it's a crucial conversation, it's important. And what he set up is he set up these 3 rules. The first rule he had, and these are kind of based on the rules I have with my wife, but he has the rules of no standing when we're in a crucial conversation. Whenever we're standing and we're in a crucial conversation, you have a tendency to want to yell more and scream more and raise that volume and raise the intensity. So they sit down, boom, immediately. They recognize crucial conversation, sit down. The second rule they have is no interrupting. So he lets her speak. She speaks. He says, "This is what I understand." She says, "Yes." Then he speaks. She says, "This is what I understand." Confirmed. Then she speaks, and they go back and forth until the conversation's over. If someone interrupts, leave. The boundary has been broken, leave the conversation. And the last rule they have is no name calling, because name calling has never helped anyone solve any problems. Go ahead, Chris.
It's kind of odd. You talked about speaking 3 different languages, I believe.
Yep.
Men and women speak the same language, but they don't speak it the same.
Yeah.
It just went through my head that we're not really speaking the same language.
No. Very true. Very, very true. It's such a great point. There's a book John Gray wrote called Men Are from Mars, Women Are from Venus.
Yeah.
He talks about this and how that's why you have to make sure, that's why you have to seek to understand first, because we are speaking 2 different languages. I like what you said, actually. We're speaking the same language in 2 different ways.
Yeah.
And so we can say the same word, and it can mean different things for you and different things for her. And so that's why the most important thing is seek to understand first, and then seek to be understood. Now, the ways to do this, the ways that I've been able to master my communication and be skillful at communication, is practice the art of listening. Listen between the lines. Like you said, Chris, it's a different language. Listen, the words are only 8%. Right. Body language is 55, tone is 37. Listen to the body language, listen to the tone, listen between the lines. When, if you come home late and she says, "Well, why didn't you call?" What is she really saying? She's saying she might have been worried about you. Can you please communicate better with me? You know, it's, and what we hear is we hear and we get defensive. No, first seek to understand, right? And so you have to really practice the art of listening. Communication doesn't work unless you know how to listen. The next one, pause before you respond. Now, do this in every situation. Whether you're at the supermarket, the mechanic, wherever you are, when you hear something, pause and then respond. If you take the pause out, that's where you get defensive, or you start to withdraw. Your communication starts to break down. So make sure you pause before you respond. And then the 3 gates, this is something I learned in Thailand. When you speak, so now again, art of listening, you're a masterful listener. You've mastered the pause because you practice it in small situations as well as big situations. Now, when you finally speak, let it pass the 3 gates. Ask yourself, is it true? Is it necessary? And is it kind? If it does not pass these 3 gates, do not say it. Change the way you need to word it, or don't say it at all. But make sure that it's true, it's necessary, and it's kind. A problem that I see with a lot of my clients is they will tell many little fibs, many little lies, because they think that it will make their missus a little bit happier. If it's a lie, don't say it. Don't say it to make her happy, because then you're not aligned and you're not communicating from your authentic self. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Any questions about those 3 techniques? Awesome. Moving on to sacred polarity. What comes up for you guys when you see the word sacred polarity?
Me, I was big into reading things like the Kabbalion, and so the principle of polarity is a big one.
Yep.
And then polarity was really big in the way of the superior man. So I feel like I've got a lot of recent thoughts on polarity and things being 2 opposite ends of the same spectrum. And a lot of the ways the superior man was just talking about the polarity between the masculine essence and the feminine essence.
Okay, that's
And if you're both on the same type of polarity of essence, you're not going to get anywhere, because just like a magnet, you need those 2 opposite ends to come together, instead of if you've got both of you being in your masculine essence, you're going to repel each other, and it's not going to work out the way you want it to.
Sure.
I
For
think
sure.
he answered it right there.
Nailed it. Yeah, so polarity is really important. The Kabbalion talks about it, like, and the swing of the pendulum from one pole to the other. Polarity here is embracing your masculine energy to create attraction, trust, and balance with your partner's feminine. So whenever you force your partner to work in her masculine, you lose polarity. So let's just talk about decisions, right? You don't have to make every decision, but you have to be willing to make every decision. Because if your chick is constantly making decisions, decision making is a masculine trait. And if she's constantly making decisions, and you say, and she's like, what do you want for dinner? Oh, I don't care, whatever you want. No, that kills polarity. You tell her, I want sushi. What do you want? You know? And I have in my relationship with my wife, and we set this up a long time ago, actually on a road trip, 3-month road trip, is that if you don't make the decision, you can't complain about the decision that was made. So I ask my wife all the time, I'm like, look, what do you want to do? Like, do you want to go here or here? Oh, I don't care. Okay, then we're going to go here. And she knows that she does not bitch when I make the decision. And I'm the same. If she decides and I'm like, okay, cool, let's do it. Like, if she actually comes out and decides something, and it doesn't happen often, I definitely don't complain about her decision.
but you gave the choice, so you in essence made the decision too.
Of course, like I always like will break it down and make it easier for her,
Yeah,
right? I'll say, listen, do you want to go to this restaurant or this one instead of where do you want to go?
right.
Because if you like the masculine also is supposed to make the decisions easier for the feminine. And again, if you have a chick that wants to decide, great. But if she doesn't, you have to do it. That's where polarity is created. So there's a story. It's a version of the knight in shining armor. So he's out in the field and he hears a scream, and it's a princess who's in danger because a dragon has just showed up. And he shows up on his horse and he pulls out his sword and he slays that dragon, falls it where it stands. And the whole town cheers and the whole town's happy. They set up a banquet for him. And everyone in town comes and thanks him and shakes his hand. And he's super excited and he's showing off his shiny armor. And him and the princess, well, they obviously fall in love because she's his knight in shining armor. And so he ends up staying at the castle with her and they end up, practicing this love. And then he goes back out in the field to do his work and he hears another scream. And it's his princess again. And again, she's in danger because another dragon has showed up. And so he comes riding in on his horse and he goes to grab his sword. And she says, no, 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 don't kill the dragon with the sword. Here's a noose. Kill it with the noose. There's less blood. And so he's like, oh, well, I don't know how to kill it with the noose, but okay. And sure enough, he kills it with the noose. And the town again is super stoked and they throw him another feast and banquet and they eat and they drink and everyone thanks him. But he's a little bit less excited at this banquet. He doesn't really show off his shiny armor. He kind of sits there and he's a little confused actually. And something happened between the spark between him and the princess. No one can really put their finger on it, but they notice the spark is a little bit less. But no problem, he still stays in the castle. A week later, he's out again doing his work and he hears another scream. And again, it's the princess. And again, she's in danger because another dragon shows up. And he arrives on his horse and he goes to grab his sword. And then he's like, oh, wait, should I use the noose or the sword or what do I do? And then all of a sudden, the dragon breathes fire at him. And he tries to dodge it, but it gets his arm, burns his whole arm up. And in the chaos, the princess calls out and says, no, 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 the noose isn't going to work. Here, use poison. And so now he has this vial of poison. He has to climb up the dragon and he, dumps the poison down the dragon's mouth and the dragon dies. And the town rejoices and cheers and they create another festival, another banquet for him. But at this one, there's absolutely no spark between him and the princess because what happened is all of polarity has lost. And people say, oh, that stupid princess, why did she do that? It's not the princess. The princess is using her nature. She's trying to protect him by giving him unsolicited advice. It's his fault for taking the advice. And by taking the advice, that's where the polarity is lost. We need to remember who we are. We need to know who we are authentically. And we need to really dig into our intuition so that we can live our authentic self and create and maintain the polarity in relationships. So the 3 ways, obviously there's more than 3 ways to do this, but the 3 ways that I'm going to tell you about today is number 1, get in touch with your own intuition and let it be your guide. My intuition has never been wrong in my life. Now, the intuition is a very difficult voice to hear. Many of us have more than one voice in our heads. We have our inner critic. We have our intuition. You need to practice listening to the intuition. And when the intuition tells you something, do it immediately and see how you feel. The second one, and this is just something that you've heard, that you've probably read, but it's very powerful, is to plan and lead a date with your missus. Now, what this means is not where do you want to go? Don't ask her anything. You tell her, listen, Friday night at 6:30, please be ready. We're going to go to a restaurant. I'm not going to tell you which one. I already have reservations. I have people to watch the kids. I have babysitters. If you want, maybe wear that black dress that I like so much. That is another way to create polarity, right? She doesn't have to think about anything. And then the last one is do something every day that makes you feel powerful and alive. Whether it's going to the gym and working out, whether it's going for a run, a cold plunge, doing Wim Hof breathing, whatever it is that makes you feel alive and powerful. Go ahead, Chris.
This is really teaching you to be a leader.
Yes, sir.
And being able to take recommendations, but like the prince story, maybe he shouldn't have done what she suggested.
He most certainly should not have done what she suggested.
Use the sword each time.
He knows his weapon. He's done it before, and he's an expert at it. And that's who he is. He uses his sword to kill dragons. He doesn't use a noose. A noose worked. He doesn't use poison. The poison worked, but that's not who he is.
Right.
So when our missus tells us what to do, we have to see whether it aligns with us. And in order to know if it aligns with us, we need to know who we are. And we need to connect with that intuition, because the intuition is the voice from our future self telling us what to do in the present moment.
That on the previous slide, can you give an example like how sacred polarity creates attraction?
It's like Jonathan was saying, right? It's the magnet. So when you're in your masculine, you're going to attract someone in their feminine, right? And when two people are in their masculine, when you're asking your chick to make all the decisions, then you're putting her in her masculine, and it's going to be like this instead of like this.
When you're not leading, you're not in the masculine.
And there is a point where you need to learn how to follow. The example I always use is in the kitchen. My chick is a wizard in the kitchen. So I don't go in there and start telling her what to do. I go in there, I say, what do you need me to do? How can I help you? And that is leading from behind.
Yeah, you have to discover what you master and what she masters.
Exactly.
And I can agree with that, because I know most Latinas can cook very well.
Oh,
and
yeah.
and me, I'm in a interracial marriage as well. My wife is black, so we get a lot of soul food, a lot of seasoning. There's always jokes about you got to have more than just salt and pepper in there, and so yeah, that's one space where she does her thing. Unless the food's being done on the grill, then it's all me.
Exactly. Yeah. When it's outside, I'm doing it. When it's
Yeah.
inside, that's her domain.
See, now I love to cook, so we've developed. We cook together a lot, and it really, most of the times it goes really well. Once in a while we clash at it.
Yeah. And that's the idea, is you want to be able to share these things. You want to be able to share the cooking with your missus. And whether it's like doing the dishes or just cutting the vegetables, like whatever it is, you want to be helpful.
Right.
Kenny?
What's the difference between maybe you get to this later, but being proactive versus being a nice guy?
Well, I think that there's tons of differences there. Being a nice guy isn't being proactive. Being a nice guy for me is people pleasing. So you're sacrificing your own identity, wants, and needs for the identity, wants, and needs of other people.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to the last one, adventure. What is adventure? Now, this one ties into what we've been talking about, everything that we've been talking about today.
Adventure is take for instance, in like for men, it's something that we I don't know, it's just in our nature to explore, to take risk, just taking on being bold, courage, I guess.
Definitely takes courage, and it builds courage. Exploring. Yes, I love it. Exploring, stepping out of your comfort zone.
Exactly.
And that's where the growth is. Growth doesn't happen in your comfort zone. Growth happens outside of your comfort zone. I think, Jonathan, you were talking about this on the men's group on Tuesday, you know? So adventure here, what we have is John Eldridge. He wrote a book called Wild at Heart. He said, man must have an adventure. It shouldn't be the woman. She's invited, but she's not the adventurer. And what men have done is men have made their woman the adventure. Right? For me, the adventure was, you know, getting this hotel. You know, that was the adventure. Now we have it. But my adventure has always been surfing. And this might sound wrong, but I never wanted my missus to learn how to surf because I wanted that to be my adventure, my time, right? I'm outside with the elements. Sometimes when the waves are big, it's a little dangerous and that makes me feel alive. And this is my adventure that I get to do every day. Right? But this is something that we need to change our minds on. You know, we talked about purpose earlier. Adventure is part of your purpose. Exploring, like you said, Kenny, like stepping out of your comfort zone, doing things that are difficult. Okay. These are 3 ways that I think that you can really step into the adventure part of yourself, right?
Yeah.
Men have always been adventurous.
Matt, can I make a comment?
Sure can.
My eyes almost popped out with leap for joy when I saw John Eldridge, Wild at Heart. I read that book.
Yeah.
I've been to his conference, the men's conferences, Colorado Spring. Absolutely loved it. Enjoyed myself. And to tell you the truth, I was a little anxious, like, you know, what's this going to be like? So I was skeptical, but when I went there, and it's like, I was just amazed at teaching, and I met men from all over, just guys coming together, and there was some sessions, all powerful on teaching, but it's the sharing part that's what really, you know, stirred me. And uh, fast forward, I wanted to. It was a great conference, but I wanted to make that part of my, you know, to make those change permanent. So one of the ways I done is like get into a men's group, someone that was familiar with the material, but it was good, but I just had to step away from that because the leader, he was a little bit controlling. And what I mean is that he kind of was a little preachy, and like whenever you had something, he always wanted to, you know, you need to be there, you need to be there. And so I just didn't feel like I wasn't learning anything. So I had to just step away from that. And and then we had our little, anyway, so that I really, yeah, so that was a little bit of my experience with that.
So it brought up a couple things for you. It brought up the conference and then like what happened after with the men's group. Book's amazing. I've
Yeah.
never seen him live, but yeah, Wild at Heart's such an amazing book. And it's so true. Like we need to have these adventures because
Exactly. Yeah.
our missus wants us to have these adventures.
Yeah.
Because
And
then
now
we have something
one
to go
quick
home
thing
and-
about venture is that to spend time with guys, to connect with guys, I joined a road biking with some other guys, and these were guys from all ages, and we biked every Saturday, like 5 a.m. And have coffee afterwards. You know, I loved it. You know, just guys, just some were starting at all levels, and so we, you know, one guy just challenged us, like, you know, I'm going to do this like out of state. You know, who's joining me? You know, so there's that pull. You know, there's that invitations, like, you know, calling you out, like, you know, yeah, you can do this, you can do this, and you can, you know, move this up. And so, yeah, that's what I loved about it, and I missed that. So,
Brilliant. Yeah, I think men's groups are the most powerful form of
yes,
change in the world
yes,
today for men. So yeah, brilliant. Thanks for sharing, Kenny. So the 3 things: break a routine, choose one routine that you have and break that routine. Breaking it means taking something out and putting something in. So whatever it is, maybe it's your morning routine, you want to take something out and replace. Maybe it's your night routine. Whatever it is, I want you to think about a routine that you have implemented in your life that's become a habit, and I want you to break it. Okay, this is the first step, because if you can break it on an everyday thing, then you can take it to the next step, right? The next step is to set lofty goals, things that cause anxiety. So I work with this guy, Ryan. I've been working with him for about a year and a half. And when he started with me, he had his back was so bad that he considered himself crippled. Like he couldn't walk right. He had a limp. He wasn't, he was overweight. But he's always been a strong swimmer. So we got him in the pool. And about 6 months ago, he says, I want to take it to the next level. And so he wanted to do some swim meets, did a couple swim meets, won a bunch of medals. He's like, okay, I want to take it another step. And so the next step was to swim 2 miles in under an hour. He still hasn't got it, the 2 miles in under an hour, but he's close. But he wants to take it to the next step. And we're going to meet again, I think, on the 2nd of September. And I'm going to wait for his new goal with swimming. But he had mentioned that he might want to swim around the island of St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands. That is what I'm talking about. These are the type of lofty goals that you want to set for yourself. For me, it was moving to Costa Rica and buying a hotel, right? This was a huge lofty goal for me. And so by setting these goals higher than you really think you can reach, that's when you start to really create adventures. Okay. And the other one is traveling alone. Traveling alone is an adventure in itself, and it's something that you will learn so much about yourself and so much about other people. It's something that I highly, highly recommend. I travel alone. My missus travels alone. And what happens is by doing this, we come back and we can share our own adventures. We do a lot of adventures together, but we also have to do them alone.
Yeah. And Matt, I was gonna say, how do you travel alone, being married, how do you I've never traveled alone being married, 30 years, except for business when I used to work.
Yeah, I do it 2 or 3 times a year. Last year I went to Spain in October. This year my missus is going to Spain by herself in October. Kids don't need to go. They're home. They're staying at home with me, or they're staying at home with her. I do
What?
surf trips all the time. So for me,
Yeah.
it's like, all right, I'm going to be gone for the next 5 or 6 days. She knows.
Would your spouse be understanding and supportive to do that?
Of course, yes, because she knows the benefits of it. When you come back after have traveling alone, you've done your adventure, and you come back to a warm house with your missus in a good mood. There's nothing better, nothing better. So we've always traveled alone. We've always traveled together and alone. Traveling's been a big thing in our life. It's something that really connects us, and so we both take lone trips, and it's very, very powerful and very beneficial.
Well, I always wanted to go to Africa to see the wild kingdom, so maybe I'll plan that as a bucket list.
Maybe start with a smaller trip because she might want to go to that one.
So she has no desire to go to Africa.
Oh, nice. Do it, man. Do it. Like the thing about when you go, like they talk about in John Gray's book, The Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, they talk about men being rubber bands. And sometimes we have to pull back from our misses, pull back from our situation. And when we pull back and we snap back into it, we come back with more power, more strength, more energy. So that traveling alone will help you come back feeling more of yourself and feeling more secure and more confident. Brilliant. So what would you say up to this point is your biggest takeaway so far? I know I've given you a whole bunch of stuff in a short amount of time. So what would you say is kind of comes up as like, yeah, that's something I'm going to implement, something I'm going to do?
I don't know. For me, I'd say that one's hard to say. Yeah, a lot of it was very, very validating to other things that I've been reading and thinking about and contemplating all on my own. The traveling on your own was an interesting one,
Even go
but
out
but a lot of the other things do fall right in line with everything I've been reading and researching and thinking about. So it's all good to hear.
Good, man. Beautiful, Jonathan.
even going out to eat alone has something different about it too. But my takeaway is I learned more expanded my growth on leadership, and when to lead and when to step back and help lead. Uh, and also I got it written down here. Is it necessary? Is it kind? Is it true? That's pretty important. You should probably run that through your mind every time.
Every time.
Yeah.
Nice one, Chris. Thank you. Kenny?
Sacred polarity.
Yeah, that's
Being the lead to me, it's kind of like being the leader. Don't be a follower, be the leader. And um, I'm a Christ. I believe it. I'm a Christian, and we go to church. My wife and I go to church, and so we've heard many times in teachings like, men like to be respected, and we do, and women like to be loved, and so
cherished.
um, I whenever my wife gives me um a choice or lets me in a decision and where I feel respected, I'm like, yeah, I kind of just like, yeah, So it's nice to always, not every situation's like that, but just yeah, give me some time.
No,
So
you good, man. I got you.
I'm sorry.
It was
No, I was talking to the kid next door. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So that's and an adventure. Um, I love the adventure, and so uh, from Wild at Heart, that was something that we as men, to explore ourselves. It's we haven't done. I haven't done. There's a lot of things dormant in our lives that we just suppress due to boredom, to addictions, to um, you know our life, and so. I love that. It's just something that just brings you to life when you do those things. And so when I was doing the cycling with the men, I love horsemanship. I've done some with some friends with a dude ranch. I've done some horsemen. So I love that. And I just like came alive, like, wow, this was awesome, can do this, regular basis. And so in Colorado. So yeah, that was just my takeaway.
Brilliant. Thanks, Kenny. Thanks for sharing.
I'll comment on what he said too. And he talked about being a Christian, and as a Christian, the wife should know that the husband is the leader, because that's what's taught. But my wife is a devoted Christian, but she covertly leads too, and I didn't realize it. And I'll tell you, one day we had a problem. I'm a farmer, or was, or whatever, and we were baling hay, and we had a problem with the machine. It got plugged up, and she happened to be there at this time, which she isn't very often. And I started unplugging it, and of course I've done this almost 40 years. And she came in and started telling me how to do it.
Yep.
And right then I started to figure out I'm not really leading the way I should. Looking back at it.
Yeah, because if you're saying she's covertly leading, it's because she doesn't trust your leadership.
Yeah.
Because there were times that you were supposed to lead that you didn't.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and women do this. This is exactly the story of the knight in the shining armor. It's like, you're doing your work.
Yeah.
I've been sitting here fixing this faucet for 2 hours, and then you come in and try to tell me how to do it. I'm like, yeah, and it's a very feminine thing, but they think they're helping, right?
Yeah. And I looked at her, and I probably shouldn't have said this, but I said, I've been doing this for 40 years. You think I'd have this figured out by now?
Exactly.
And then she responded then she knew she was leading.
Yeah.
And then she responded with, well, my father always, and her father did a lot of mechanical stuff too, always taught us to think beyond. She kind of made an excuse for why she was leading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
normal. And like when this happens, and you know, it's happened in my relationship too. And it's because she's lost a little bit of faith and trust in your leadership. And so
Yeah.
you have to get that back. And these are the 5 things that you can do to get them
Yeah,
back.
I know that in a big way.
Hey, Chris, it's interesting. You mentioned you used to grow hay. I used to work where we used to grow hay as well.
Uh-huh.
We we had contracts with dairies in Mexico, so we still ship tons of hay down there.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I had a dairy farm and then I sold my cows about 12 years ago. I went through a lot of transitions, and that was the hard part for me. And a lot of this I can relate to because of the lack of focus and goals and those kinds of things. You know, I started baling hay and I had a trucker shipping it to Florida. He died. And so there were a lot of things that happened. But yeah,
I love it. I love the connections. All right. So as I said at the beginning, I do have an invitation for you. So we're going to go through this invitation. It is to an 8-week Marriage Maintenance 101 group program. Okay. So what does this mean? By joining this program, you're going to walk away with confidence and inner control, or at least the ability to control yourself internally. So you're not confused about your leadership, you're not anxious, and you're not passive. You're not giving your leadership over to your misses. Okay. And again, this is something that works in relationships as well as in your regular everyday life. But again, you will learn to lead your relationship with clarity, direction, and heart, which is really important. We didn't talk a lot about it today, but it's really important. Through this program, this 8-week program, you will learn how to rebuild emotional connection and repair trust so that your wife does trust you and your leadership. You will understand how to rekindle passion and sexual energy with your missus, and you will have a brotherhood of men walking the path with you so that you don't feel that you have to do this alone. Okay, the framework. Now, we will have 8 75-minute sessions on Zoom exactly like this. We will dive deeply into these 5 pillars of Marriage Maintenance 101. We will dissect all of them, and there will be many more techniques that we'll go through during the 8 weeks. This program will have 6 people. There's already 2 that are involved. There are already 2 that have signed up. So we have 4 seats left. So in the 8 weeks, every single participant will get a hot seat coaching. So what that means is each participant will explain essentially his situation, whether it's your relationship or not. You know, in your case, Kenny, it might be work. And the group will offer feedback based on the 5 pillars and general life experience from them. Okay, so this is something that you can only get in a group setting. You're going to get coaching from me as well as from the rest of the group. There will be unlimited text support for accountability and deeper support. So if we meet on a Thursday and you have something come up on a Tuesday, you can always write that group, and you can always write into that text or that group text so that you can get support from me as well as from other men in your group. And you will have access, because I am transparent, you will have access to all the tools that I have accumulated in the past 25 years of study, work, and traveling. Again, I'm coming from 5 years in Thailand where I studied a lot, 5 years in Spain where I learned new techniques, and then obviously the last 13, 14 years here in Costa Rica. Okay, so that's the framework of the program. Now, when I did this program, I've done it a few times. The most I've ever charged was $1,500 US per person. Because you're with me here, you showed up today, this is not the price that you will pay for the workshop, okay? So what else is included? There are some powerful bonuses. The first one is 2 one-on-one coaching sessions with me. So before we start the group, we'll have a session, 45 minutes, 60 minutes. So we'll talk about your specific situation and create a game plan for transformation. After the 8-week program, we'll have another one-on-one conversation. So most people that do packages with me, it's about $400 a call. So this is a value of $800 US. The second bonus is the 7-book digital bundle. So this includes tons of tools, scripts, practices for masculine leadership, emotional regulation, communication, and sexual polarity. Like this call, all the calls in the group program will be recorded, and so you will have access to these recordings for your entire life. And the private group chat that I was talking about is not going to be limited to the 8-week program. So this will continue after the program, and you will have, again, lifetime access to this chat and to this support. Does anyone have any questions so far about what I'm offering? Brilliant. Okay, so your price today for the 8-week program with the bonuses is $497 US. Okay, this is 10 calls in total, 2 directly one-on-one with me, as well as 8 group calls, which means that each call is less than $50. As I said, there is the hot seat coaching that you get coached by me, as well as the fellows in the group. You will get the 7-book digital bundle, as well as you will get lifetime support. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put into the chat the link, because I noticed that you guys can't access the link from there. So this is the link to pay. You can pay by your, Google Pay, Apple Pay, credit cards if you want, Visa, American Express. This price, this offer only lasts until the 30th of August. So I will be doing a live replay of this on Tuesday. And I said there are already 2 people that have joined. Okay, so there's really only 4 spots left. Now, I'm not saying that go ahead and do it today if you do it today, but I will say that until the 30th of August or until all the spots are taken. The only thing that I do ask is that when you do get in a group with other people, you don't necessarily mention the price that you paid, because people are paying different prices for this. Because you guys are with me on this, I'm offering this at $497. Okay? Does anyone have any questions? Brilliant. Awesome. If you do have any questions, all of you have my email. You can always reach out to me, and I'd be more than happy to work or to talk to you about this. If $497 is a bit too much for you, we can do it in payments. Not worried about that either. Okay. And the last thing I have for you today is, like I said, I have a free gift. So I have all of you on by email. I will be sending that free gift over in the matter of the next couple of hours. So after this, I have a couple things to do, and then this afternoon I'll get back on the computer and check your email. I will be sending that free gift over. Okay. Thank you guys so much for coming. I really appreciate it. I realize Saturday is not the best day to do these, but you got to try it to learn. So again, thank you so much for taking your time out and spending this last almost 100 minutes with me, sharing your story, sharing your heart with me. And I look forward to hopefully working with you in the future. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Matt,
Excellent.
I
Thank you, guys.
appreciate you, Kenny, Chris. You guys got this.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Chris and Jonathan.
Yeah.